Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Michael. This is the next chapter of my story in me and MS, picking up where we left off with the spinal tap I had a year after HSCT, showing no change to my biomarkers in a cerebral spinal fluid. I will say, having heard from some of you since I posted that maybe that's a not the right marker to be looking at. I hadn't really thought of that if my doctor was just wanting to do that to see if the biomarkers were still there of like they weren't necessarily supposed to be gone, because I think a lot of you have been saying that. I don't know if that's necessarily supposed to happen. So as like to end all the whole end to HSCT, I guess it did work in the sense that I haven't had an attack since I had HSCT. I hedged my bets and have been on Ocrevus since, but I haven't had attacks. But yeah, I haven't had those hoped for added benefits of ability regeneration and the fun stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, so picking up where I left off in like summer 2019 or so. I was using two canes and living, in a house with two-story house with some roommates at the time on my own, more or less. But my whole cane setup was starting to not support me as much as it had been doing. I was definitely moving slower and tiring quicker. Still, wasn't able to walk much more than from my parking space inside a bar or restaurant, wherever I was going. So, and there were definitely some awkward falls outside and inside my house, just not having the strength I thought I did to walk upstairs, and, especially when the heat came. So I had to start thinking of moving to a rollator. So by this point, it was end of 2019, I started looking seriously. I searched cool rollators. I didn't want to get some big boxy thing I wasn't going to be able to live with easily. So I found the Bi-Acre Carbon Ultralight rollator. I think credit goes to the Instagram blogger Miss Trippin' on Air for looking cool using that. And it really did fit my lifestyle. It's only 10 pounds. It folds up like this, so you can easily slide it in between your behind your car seat and really stay independent with the rollator. So it was the next step, but at least I had the cool one, and so it made it a lot easier. And then shortly after I got my cool rollator, COVID hit. So I wasn't going out on town and showing it off as much as I had hoped. I like everyone in COVID, life slowed down a lot. And I think this slowness really contributed to the next sort of step down in my ability, really speeding things up. I was consistently using the walker, even to get around inside the house, and every step I took, it was harder to lift my legs upstairs. They could only maybe do 3 or 4 at 6 inches max at a time, and I had to put down a flat path from over the grass from my car to the door, so I could avoid tripping over the grass to get to my car. And then once I was in the car, driving was becoming a lot more difficult. I was constantly supporting my right leg to move it from the pedal to the gas, which is very unsafe. And there were a few close calls, and after a few of them, I decided that it was time to stop driving, which was a real blow. So by this point, I did have a transport chair for people to push me in. I would go on walks with my girlfriend at the time, my now wife. Around the neighborhood, she would push me and them, and so that was just fun to explore. But I was making the next dreaded move to a more regular power chair to use. So just like with the rollator, I did my research and found one that fit my lifestyle. It was a travel chair called the Fold and Go Mag Shock, I think. It folds in half. It weighs 50 pounds. So it's pretty much like a heavy piece of luggage to move around. And I still use that to this day. I obviously can't load it into the car myself and walk around, so I still do need someone traveling with me when I do head out. But it has made me a lot more mobile. We live right next to a neighborhood with bars and restaurants, so I head down there and just everywhere. It makes traveling a lot easier and moving around a lot easier. So now in 2022, I am primarily using the chair. I still have the rollator to stand up and transfer to the bed, and use mostly honestly as an exercise device. So when I am in vampire mode, like I talked about in my heat video, at the end of the night when I have seemingly for whatever reason my most energy, when the sun's down and it's dark. So I use the rollator when I can to walk around the house a little bit and get a little bit of exercise and stand up. Other symptoms besides walking, though, have also popped up, and more so than have been in the past. Bladder issues have especially gotten annoying, especially in like the last 6 months, and it's incredibly hard to find the right answer to, especially an answer that's easy to swallow and adapt to. My blood pressure has also been consistently higher than normal over the last year. Not sure, combination of not moving as much, maybe some medicines I'm on, also hereditary. Need to thank my mom's side of the family for that. Let's rope around back to NIH for a second, though. Yeah, so I've been seeing them every 6 months now for 8 years. The last 4 have been in this current study I'm talking about, where I had spinal tap. It's called TRAP MS. Their study is researching repurposing medications for people with MS that have been shown to potentially either repair myelin and regenerate ability. So in June of 2021, after 2 years on the study, 2 years from that spinal tap, they put me on one of those experimental drugs. I was very excited about having seen its name pop up in a lot of research articles and the like. The drug Clemastine. Clemastine was one of the original antihistamines in the 1970s, and I guess it has been shown to have properties that can contribute to the regrowth of myelin, the coating around your nerves that where how a lot of that electrical signal is lost. So I was excited to be on this trial of it. The dose was a little higher than normal. They were having us take a total of about 10 milligrams a day, which was 4 pills. But the only side effects for me was just some occasional drowsiness in the afternoon, especially when I took it at the same time as some of my other meds, but no other real side effects for me. But alas, NIH decided to stop the trial of Clemastine in the spring of this year, about 9 months into it for me. I was supposed to be on it for, I think, at least 2 years. But, I honestly didn't feel one way or the other from taking stronger or working better or anything like that, even though I've been doing PT, which they wanted you to do as well. But still just disappointed that the hope for, just like HSCT, the hope for something that would give me my strength back was dashed. So it was a little bit of a gut punch. I guess they stopped it because others on it were either did not tolerate it very well, or outside of people that didn't tolerate well, no one did show improvement from having been on it. So, just real a disappointment there. Oh yeah, and in the spring of 2022, shortly after the Clemastine study ended, both of my doctors, both my local Charleston neurologist and my longtime neurologist I've been seeing, who had moved down to Jacksonville, Florida, they both up and left for new institutions, both in Southern Virginia, ironically. All this to say, my care team is definitely in flux right now, and I feel a little adrift, just trying to manage finding the right care, and whether that's continuing seeing them, one or both of them at their new locations, or finding new care team altogether. I'm also, like I was saying, seeing just more new symptoms than I have been. Just the bladder things have been especially intense the last 6, even really 3 months. So And physically, I just haven't been doing my best. It is summer, and that's definitely affects it. But a lot of times, summer is the first start of something new. Although I did just complete a course of occupational therapy on my hands, and over I think it was about 2 months, had see some measurable improvements. So that was good to see. Now the challenge is just to keep it up. But other than all that, honestly, my life is pretty amazing right now, especially the last 6 months or a year. I married the love of my life. I've taken some incredible trips, and I have a lot to be thankful for. And so, I mean, I guess the wrap up here, if there is one, is MS is incredibly frustrating to manage, and there's still other things going on that I don't feel I have the time or want to burden you with in this video. There's more videos for that. But overall, I'm a lucky person to live the life I do, and that mind frame is what matters most. I don't fault you if you feel sad and down about your condition. There's plenty of days that I do, and every day I wish I didn't have it. But you are just so many other things than MS that make you who you are. So although MS has become a larger focus of my life recently, just because it has had to, it's still not my whole life, and I hope it's not yours either. Like I said before, treat it as a problem you have to solve, break it down its parts, attack one by one by one by one by one by one by one. It's not going to end. But try to create actionable steps to get somewhere with it. You're probably not going to completely arrive where you want to go, but with perseverance and being your own best advocate and staying attentive to every piece of it, you'll get to where you need to go. So take that for what it is. We've now caught up to where I am in August 2022, and I'll check in with my story as deemed fits. That the videos aren't ending. I've got plenty of other things to talk about, but in terms of just generally my symptoms and how I'm doing, we've caught up. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.